You just got through watching Raw. Now it's time for HWR's Raw Reaction.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Hardcore Wrestling Radio's Raw Reaction. I am your hardcore host, Rickhead, and of course, I have the hardcore crew with me. First, he's the son of a bitch, Andy. Andy, what's up?
Hi, everybody. Hope you're all doing well.
And then we have the incomparable Lance Moss. He's over at youtube.com/LanceMossTV. Lance, what's going on?
Nothing much. Just ready to have some fun.
Yeah, well, you know what, guys, I'm going to say. Tonight's Raw was a bit bland. There were some good segments, but overall, there was a lot of dry spots. Yeah, and it seems to be kind of like a mixed bag with Raw as of late. But let's get started. The show pretty much opened up with Dean Ambrose making his way to the ring, where he talks about almost beating Triple H at Roadblock, and then, of course, he came out short. This brings out Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman, and Heyman's pretty much just, like saying, hey, you don't want to provoke him, and, of course, this is where Ambrose starts mocking Lesnar. He does, like, the little bounce around that Lesnar does as he comes out. Lesnar decides, okay, I'm going to go kick his ass, and this is, of course, where Ambrose pulls out a crowbar. Brock still tries to come to the ring and be smart and almost gets his head slammed in and realizes that better fight for another day. Andy, what were your thoughts about this whole segment? Do you think, now that he brought out the crowbar, you think it's going to work out?
I hope so. That's all I hope so.
Well, now, later on in the night, Dean Ambrose would actually get a visit from the hardcore legend himself, Mick Foley. And Mick Foley said, hey, look, you know what? I've been where you're at, and it's time for me to pass the torch. That's what he called it, because he took the crowbar out of his hand, and he gave him that, barbed wire bash, which he's been so well known for over the years. And Lance, he definitely is a big fan of passing the torch.
Yeah, I mean, I instantly knew what it was going to be when he handed him that big red box, because it couldn't be anything else. I mean, what the hell is he going to give him? Abyss's Janus? No. I mean, you could tell it was going to be the bat.
Yeah. And so later on in the night, Triple H is out pretty much, gloating about how he beat Dean Ambrose. And you would figure that, Ambrose would come out, or maybe even Roman Reigns would come out, but that just wasn't the case. Who comes out, of all people, but Dolph Ziggler? He said that he wanted to face, have him in a match. He says, he's not going to quit. Tries to, pretty much Stephanie and Triple H just laugh him off. And they say, you want a spot at WrestleMania, you can have any match at WrestleMania except for the main event, but you've got to beat me tonight in a non-title match. So the match goes on, and you would figure that Ziggler might have gotten like a win with the help from the outsider distraction. Didn't happen. Ziggler loses clean, and then after the match, we saw Roman Reigns come out, and he just stored Triple H down. He comes to the ring and literally gives him a beating within an inch of his life, beats him all the way to the back into a bloody pulp. Now, Andy, a couple weeks ago when we saw when we saw Roman Reigns get hurt, he got all bloodied up. You called it that was fake blood. What did you think about tonight?
Same again, I think, because 1 minute there wasn't any blood, and then the next minute there was just blood there, and I didn't see at any point he had blood before, but suddenly it's there for all to see. So I really don't know where that blood could have come from, apart from it was just fake.
Well, it could have been fake. I mean, like I said, a couple of weeks ago, I would have said you're crazy, but obviously that was the case. But if you looked in the back, it was hard to see because they were in the dark. So, I think he even threw a case while they were over in the pyro section. And that could have easily, split them out legitimately. Lance, what was your thoughts?
It was either fake, which I don't think they'd do that back-to-back in the same angle, but like when you said, I think he might, the edge of that case he hit might have knocked him in the head, causing the blood spill out and all hell to break loose.
Yeah. Now, I want to move on. Chris Jericho, of course, comes out in the ring again, and pretty much it's like the second verse, same as the first. Bitches about how everybody's been chanting for AJ Styles, and, they should be chanting for him. And I don't know about you guys, but Jericho just needs to get some new material. Andy, over to you.
Yeah, it's the same old Jericho. As much as I like the guy, it's the same old Jericho now. It's a bit like watching The Rock.
Yeah. And anyways, well, Jericho would face Neville, and the match was all right. I mean, it was for what it was a decent match with some good spots. Neville appears to get hurt somewhere in the match. I don't know if that's legit. I'm guessing it's a kayfabe. But anyway, long story made incredibly short. Jericho pushes the ref, causing the match to get thrown out. And this right after the match, what happens is AJ Styles comes out and beats the hell out of Jericho. Now, this seems to be the trend of the night. It doesn't really seem to be the matches, guys, but it almost seems to be the segments that really seem to be more interesting. Lance, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, even though they did something that pisses me off to this day, I don't get why they keep spoiling the Hall of Fame, but that's just me personally. But yeah, the segments definitely stole the show on this one.
Now, the biggest match of the night, well, it was more of a segment. Again, the big segment of the night was the Shane and Taker segment. Vince is out there saying that, the Undertaker is going to be his weapon of destruction. This brings out Taker, followed by Shane. Shane grabs a mic and says, "You know what? You're a legend. You carried this company on your back, but you know what? Lately, you're just looking sad. It looks like Vince is pulling your strings." And in short, basically said, "You know what? You're just Vince's bitch." Obviously, the Undertaker takes exception to that, and a fight ensues. Shane's pretty much ducking every swing that Taker's making, and he's slamming him back and forth. Well, things turned around when Vince literally shoved Taker into when he shoved Shane McMahon into the Undertaker, where he would receive a choke slam from the dead man. Now, of course, we all know that at WrestleMania, if Shane wins, he's going to have control of WrestleMania, and we still have some doubts. Andy, I know you have your doubts.
I would like to think that Shane is going to win. I don't see he's going to win. Unless the Undertaker does it on his own bat, I don't see Shane beating the Undertaker. They won't give it to Shane that easily. So I think the Undertaker's either going to say, "I'll do what's right for business. I'll take a dive, pin me, blah, blah, blah." That'll get him, as I said before, bit of credibility with the fans again. And give the fans what we want for a while. But is Raw going to improve? I don't think it'll make a scrap of difference, to be honest, although we'd like to think it would.
Yeah, and I think, Lance, let's talk for a second, just hypothetically, if, Shane does get that win. You can only wonder if they're going to start going back to doing the Raw SmackDown split. Is it possible, and is it a good idea?
Well, I think it's a good idea because it could get a little bit of inter-company rivalry going. And let's face it, they don't see anybody else as any form of competition. So, best way to create it is to do it within the company. And two, there's certain things they have to change and certain things they wouldn't. Like, I think they should let the world champion work both. Put US on one, IC on the other, tag. I don't know, figure out what the hell you're going to do there. But yeah, it's a good idea because every now and then you could switch the rosters up in the draft, and it would be the same thing show after show after show.
Yeah, well, and with that, we're going to, give our final thoughts. Overall, I'd have to give Raw, I want to say a 6 out of 10, and that's being nice. There were a lot of squash matches, just a lot of matches that really wasn't needed. One of the better matches of the night for me was the Kevin Owens match where he fought The Miz. Zayn never fails to impress me. Of course, the best segment of the night was the final segment, and it's just the road to WrestleMania really is in high gear. Andy, over to you. Your final thoughts.
Yeah, I think I'd go with a 6 out of 10 myself. It wasn't nothing major, but it wasn't disappointing. It's always worth watching when Shane's on, even if it is get his arse handed to him.
Lance, over to you.
Yeah, like I said, overall 6 out of 10. Best match, I got to give it to Triple H and Dolph Ziggler. I mean, I get it. the real reason they booked this match is so Triple H could try test his stamina, because that was a long freaking match. But yeah, best segment. Well, that was the best, but I gotta give it to the R-Truth and Goldust segment, just because that was freaking hilarious.
Yeah, those Golden Truth segments, I always laugh my ass off. And the hashtag will you be my penguin? That, for me, I couldn't stop laughing. With that, though, we're going to wrap it up, and we thank all of you for listening. Please make sure you follow us over at youtube.com/HWR show. If you want to get in the conversation, we're over on Facebook in the group sections under the name HWR Chat Room. I am your hardcore host, and I'd like to thank, once again, my hardcore crew for showing up. First, he's the son of a bitch, Andy. Andy, what do you got going on?
Yeah.
Where can people find you?
Yeah, if I can stay alive that long, I've got an investigation this coming Friday. And you can find or follow our antics on www.stokehaunted.com.
And we have the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, you always got great things happening over at Lance Moss TV. Tell everybody about it.
I got album reviews, NASCAR special videos, Redneck Normal Cooking videos, new equipment reviews, some rants, and every Wednesday I go live with Lance Moss TV and friends. I never know who's going to show up.
And with that, I am your hardcore host, Rick Head, saying, we'll see you when we see you.
Thank you for listening to this edition of HWR's Raw Reaction. To listen to more podcasts like this, check us out over at youtube.com/HWR show. Until the next time, this is your hardcore host, Rick Head, saying we'll see you when we see you.